For this year's Paint It Pink Invitational for Breast Cancer Awareness, I decided to use this Majorette Dune Buggy casting that starts off already pink. It's hard for me to believe that this is the 7th year of this build. It all started back in 2019 when Brian, Diecast Outcast, started the event. And it's been hosted over the years by different entities, and we're fortunate again this year to have it hosted by the Four Horsemen. The first year, 2019, I built a pink silhouette, and then the next year was a Hummer H2. The year after that was a Jackrabbit Special. The year after that was a VW Beach Bomb, then a VW T1 Rockster, and then last year was a Matchbox Red Ryder casting. Now, this particular casting, it didn't have any posts. It has that front tab that you see there. And at this point, I'm still trying to figure this thing out, how to get it apart. It was kind of obvious that the engine in the back held that bottom section in place. So it needed to slip out of there, but it wasn't going to do so easily. And I wasn't exactly sure what was holding it in place. If it was a pin or what. So there was enough slop in that base to just pop it off that way that you see there, pulling that tongue out of that front groove. That gave me a little better vision into the inside of this thing. Still didn't get it loose. Still wasn't coming apart. But at least I could kind of see a little better what was going on. And it's interesting because this thing really looks like a toy to me. I'm sorry, but those fat tires on the back, they just look kind of goofy to me. But the more I looked at this thing, I could see that those seats, the front seats, were loose after pulling this apart. So I thought, okay, well, if I can get those out of there, and I should be able to because, again, they're loose. So fortunately, those came out, and that gave me a better look into what was holding that engine in place. And I don't know if you can see it well or not, but basically that plastic in the back, it's kind of a forked tongue kind of thing with pins on the side of it. There I'm moving the steering wheel and steering column out of the way. And I ended up using the needle nose pliers to crimp those together, the pins on that back fork section, to try and get them to slip out of how they're notched in there. The good news, I'll jump ahead to a secret that happens at the end, a preview of what's going to happen. While this thing was a bear to get apart, it couldn't have gone together any easier. It was designed really well. The fact that it used those pins, that fork in the back, to hold the engine in place, while it was terrible to get apart, once they put these together, they're not figuring anyone in their right mind is ever going to take them apart. And they want them to survive kids playing with them. And this really worked well, this way of holding it. So there you see, and you get a little better look here. Come on. There you can see the pins, how there's notches in the sides of that silver. This is all plastic. That engine is plastic and the base is plastic. The body is metal. But there you have a better look at it. And so it was an interesting way of putting this together that was very effective. So at this point, I just need to take the lights off the front, the light bar off the front. It has one pin that goes through the casting and then two on the sides that go into little pockets that were completely covered. That surprised me. I thought there would just be 3 holes when I originally looked at the top. And there's really only one hole through the casting, and the other 2 are just pockets that the other pins go into. Again, it holds it really well in place. So once I got it stripped off, threw it in citrus strip to get the paint off of it. Casting was in very good shape. It had a lot of things I needed to, file down to clean up. But as far as like battered sections from just, play damage, that kind of thing, there really wasn't any. It was in good shape. That roof that you saw me take off early on, that's plastic. And so, for that to survive as well as it did, you could kind of tell this didn't get a lot of play wear. Otherwise, I'm sure that top would have been first thing destroyed. But there you get a look at how that goes there. But yeah, I just, get out the set of files, go over it, clean it all up. Wasn't in bad shape. I'm keeping this a fairly straightforward build. I'm obviously painting it pink, but I'm keeping a lot of things similar. The roof will be white. I am doing a wheel swap on it again because those wheels left a lot to be desired. Just the width of just the whole look of those wheels was terrible. So I think even if it had just been a wheel swap, not even a repaint or anything like that, there were dings in the paint and stuff. I think just a flat out wheel swap would have looked good. And again, the way this thing was constructed, the wheel swap itself couldn't have gone any easier. So all in all, this was a very enjoyable build. And I've had some things going on recently that have kept me away from building. This will be my first build, I think, in 2 weeks, something like that. But once I had that all filed down and cleaned up, I dip it in IPA just to clean it off right before paint. I like doing that to get any, grime off of it, oils off of it, get the casting as clean as possible for paint. Went with the Color Shot paints, white primer down first. The top got marshmallow white. The body is Farmer's Daughter pink. And then once those coats were on, the clear sealer went over all of those. The Color Shot paints worked fantastically. It worked really well on this build. There you see, after I put the plastic parts in super clean, the chrome parts, the engine that you see there, that's the engine in that forked piece. The forked piece is in the tape there. And you could tell those were clear plastic under that. It surprised me. I do end up painting that black and then going over it in chrome and silver in areas. I wanted the inserts on the seats to be pink. For that, I used this metallic pink paint pen, which isn't easy to say, and I was trying to articulate that properly. But it may not look like it yet, but going over this a few times with the pen turned out pretty well. I'm pretty darn happy with the end results, and you'll see them later. At first, I was thinking I was just going to do pink stripes on the seats, and then I just did entirely pink inserts. And I think you'll agree that those turn out pretty well and match the color of the car pretty well. Naturally, they're not a dead-on match, but I think it's a good look. For the engine, as you see, it's down there. I had spray painted it black, had chromed the rear bumper. I did detail the taillights on that after all of this is done. But then I thought, let me dry brush the engine with silver paint. That's Vallejo silver. Just dry brushing it to pick out the details. Again, not just flat out painting it silver. I didn't think that would look good. I thought I'd lose detail by doing that. I did go with the wheel swap from Real Rider Set 3 from Hot Wheels. There's a set there that I really liked for this build. Those that I'm pointing at. What was nice is they really replaced the original ones well. I did not need to alter the axles at all. Always a plus, and there wasn't the silly extra axle sticking out that always looks stupid on builds when they're too long. It all worked great. So here you see it after a lot of detailing. Body turned out really well with the Farmer's Daughter paint. I did paint that light bar pink as well, and then just chromed where the lights themselves were. That just pops in place. I did not glue that at all. It just pops in there nice and snugly. And then assembly, without any posts, without any posts and screws to put in, it really goes remarkably well. Drop the front seats in. Have to fit this in there. I've already mounted the wheels to it, as you can see there. They just popped in, replacing the old ones. There were little plastic pieces on that base that held them in place. Had to work the steering column in. That was why you saw that double take there on it. Once that tongue is in place on the front, then the rear set of wheels, the axle just drops into place there. And then the engine portion holds that axle in place and slides into that little notched area that gave me so much difficulty before getting it out. And I did touch up the base where it was still clear with black paint after this was fully assembled. So at this point, it couldn't be better. Just need to throw the top on. And again, the top just pops on. And as easily as this went together, it's not coming apart. I mean, it's really held together well. And I really don't think I could be any happier with this build. And it's a roller. So here's where we started. It wasn't in terrible shape. There were some little chips in the paint and everything. And I obviously went with a different pink and added a lot more detail to it. But that's basically it. So this is where we started. And here in a second, I didn't put a decal on the top. I thought that would look stupid with a decal up there. I really like the finished look on this. It also gives me a monkey mobile feel looking at it. If this had been red, I think it would look even more so. And I think the wheel swap worked really well on this. So there you have it. I'd like to thank the Four Horsemen for hosting this event again this year. This event is very special to me. And ever since Brian at Diecast Outcast started it, and then as I recall at the Three Blind Mice, I think we hosted it for a couple years, if I remember right. And then the Four Horsemen were gracious enough to take it over after us, and have been doing a wonderful job with it. So thanks to them for continuing this. Please, everyone, check out all of the other builds in this event and check out the recap video on the Four Horsemen channel on YouTube. And everyone, stay safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.